Okay, we're back to part 2 with Ian Petrella on the Tom and D podcast. Tom Fry is eating away at something here.
Oh
What's
my
going
God.
on?
Costco sells these s'mores. They're like, and they're like these chocolate things that have like graham in them, and they have a nut of some sort in them. I think they even have like marshmallow and chocolate. And all I know is
They're
it's
not
really
called
good.
s'mores. They're
Yeah.
called s'mores.
Tom and D. Tom and D.
Two middle-aged idiots.
Well, no s'more s'mores.
No more s'mores for more.
No more s'mores.
That's the British pronunciation.
What? S'mores?
Instead of
Grahams.
Oh,
Graham.
grams.
The graham cracker.
Do you like more smalls?
No more smalls. Well, just to continue on from our previous episode, we were talking to Ian Petrella, who played Randy in A Christmas Story.
Yes.
And we talked a great deal about A Christmas Story. And now for part 2, I want to dive into Beyond Christmas Story. Ian, I know you as, of
You want
course.
to talk about Christmas Story more?
Well, I mean, there's plenty that we could talk about with A Christmas
talk about
Story, but I know you are also involved in producing and involved in this documentary that's being made right now. You've done some puppeteering, maybe still are. I'd love to hear about all these other talents and interests that you have.
Yeah, I'm working on this documentary. It was called Jaws Goes to the Bahamas. It was a documentary on Jaws for the Revenge. A buddy of mine, he's directing it, and as of late, the name has changed to now The Shark Roared.
Really?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're starting our Kickstarter fund again to raise money to continue the budget. And from what I heard last, it's about 50% done. I just found out all this information. So
The shark what?
The Shark Roared.
Roared.
If you've seen Jaws 4, have you?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The shark roars.
There's
okay. That makes more sense.
Like a lion.
I think yeah, like a lion. Roar! It's like, I didn't know they had vocal cords. I didn't know they do that, but apparently this one does. So that's kind of like the punchline of the whole film. And
Right.
I was like, we have to talk about the shark roaring. But
That's so
yeah,
funny.
it's been kind of it's been an interesting journey. Like I said, I just got all this information now about it, which I wish I would have had this information before.
So Jaws 4,
Yeah,
as opposed to the first Jaws.
right.
So Jaws
Or
4,
the second,
or
or
the
the third.
Yeah.
Right. So you went for the 4th, which is unique in itself, and then you're about 50% done, you said. So is that with actual production and post, or what does that mean, 50% done?
I don't know. I was just told it's
Fair enough.
So I know we did some interviews with some people. We got Lance Guest, who played Michael Brody in Jaws 4, Mario Van Peebles, Pat Romano, who was the underwater DP, and a couple other. We had a shark expert. I can't remember his name. He came in and talked about the nature of sharks and the great white. And we asked, do they actually roar? And he's like, no, they don't. They don't roar. No sharks
Okay.
make no noise whatsoever.
Do
Unless-
they get caught up in tornadoes ever?
I don't know. And that's the other thing. The guy, our other executive producer, Anthony C. Ferrante, who is the Sharknado guy.
What?
All the Sharknado movies. So we have the time. He was an old friend of mine from back in the 90s.
That
And
is
so
awesome. Oh my God, I love that.
When we started this, I told my buddy, I said, I should call my friend Anthony and see if he wants to do an interview for this. So I called up Anthony and I said, we're making this documentary on Jaws 4. And he's like, why? I go, I don't know.
I lost the bet.
Because no one's going to do it. So we're going to do it. And he said, "You know what? I'll do an interview for you. I'll do it." Because
Cool.
he's a good friend of mine. So I said, "Let me give you Michael's the director's number. Call him. He can give you all the information about what's happening." And so he called up Michael. They had a good conversation. Michael calls me back and says, "Anthony wants to be executive producer." I was like, "Cool." So Anthony is now attached. He's part of the process. He's a producer. He's been there on all the shoots and all the interviews. He's kind of helping run the project, which is what it needs because I've never shot a documentary. I know you have, and it's a whole different process than just making a film. It, a narrative, script to film actors and everything. So it was nice having it's nice having Anthony on board to help do this and kind
Well,
of
you
guide.
might need a good voiceover guy, and if you do,
I'm sure that's the one thing that that's the one thing that I don't know where we're going with that direction.
well, if
So
you do, you know where to go
fryonthefly.com. That is
for all
Fry on
your
the Fly.
voiceover needs.
right,
It's an ongoing joke that we have because Tom solicits himself on every interview.
Guest.
Every
E-
guest that we
Even if
have.
the guest doesn't
Right.
need a voiceover, I mean, it's like
you almost have to.
You
You know,
do.
if if you don't, then how are they going to know what you do?
we interviewed his doctor for Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm like, "Do you need someone to do like your, phone system for you?" It's like,
Well,
no, no, no.
it's like with me, puppeteering. It's like, I always say, it's like if you need a puppeteer, come talk to me.
Oh, I love that.
So
That's so
For
cool.
our listening audience, Ian just did a little demo, so you definitely got to watch the video portion of this.
this was a test.
Oh, I love that.
So it's
Yeah.
not a complete, but I wanted to see if I could use it for something.
He
And
looks a little bit like Kermit almost.
Yeah.
actually, it is this particular. It's a pattern that I got off of the puppetnerd.com. You can buy patterns and make these. And this pattern right here is actually called the gem.
Like Jim Henson.
So it is. It's basically a mock Kermit. So I bought it to see if I can use it for something in this project that I'm working on right now, and I can't. So
You can have him go like this, da 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 da.
Roar.
Roar.
that's what I wanted to do. Is I asked him. I said, "Do you want me to make a shark puppet and interview people? So, don't tell me what you think."
Oh my God, that is awesome. That would be a really funny
That would be
remember
really.
Hey,
like a
back
mockumentary.
me, Jaws. Man, that director, really put me through the ringer. And they asked me if I could roar. And I said, "What do you mean roar? Sharks don't roar. We don't talk." Well, I'm talking right now, but that's just for purposes for the documentary. But
Dude, when you do that, what makes it so great is that the way he looks up and you have the puppet looking down, and you know what I'm saying? You really have the
Well, he's
motions
a
of
puppeteer.
right,
yeah,
but I'm saying you can tell that he's good at what he does because
well, that's why I always say it's like, why do Italians make the best puppeteers? It's because we like to talk with our hands.
exactly.
That's great.
funny.
Well, oh my God, this is going to make a great video portion for this. So our listening audience, definitely check out the video side of this.
Yeah, we never release them though. We're like 20 episodes behind in the video portion because you've been busy.
A little bit. I'll make sure I crank these out, but
Okay.
yeah. So Ian, for that purpose, if there's anything either with A Christmas Story or anything that we talked about with that for our first episode, or with this for the documentary, anything else that you're able to share with us, like any images, it would be great to get those and we can
Yeah,
include those in the video. Yeah.
I got the links for. I'll send you if we can do the the link to the Kickstarter if people
Would
want.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can send you that. So that's,
Yeah, we had a great guest on a few, maybe like a month ago or so. Justin Giddings. He's an incredible He's known as the Kickstarter guy.
Oh.
So he's known for helping people out, and getting them connected on
But he works at
Kickstarter.
a motorcycle repair shop, not the same Kickstarter you were thinking.
That was funnier in Tom's head, I'm sure.
No,
but-
that was funnier to think about how you and I used to hang out at that motorcycle shop in Bloomington with all the Ham's beer in the fridge.
We're digressing here.
We are digressing too much.
But yeah, we'll definitely put up that information. And is it live now on Kickstarter?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
So-
Great. Well, hopefully, what's your goal? Do you know if there's a dollar amount?
I think 15 grand.
A lot. We need a lot of money.
Yeah. So just to finish everything up. So 'cause we want to try and get to the Bahamas where they shot the movie. So there's a rumor that they at the bottom in the Bahamas where they shot, they sunk the shark in the boat.
Wow.
So we want to go and try and see if that's true or not. And pay for, get a dive team to go down there.
Do things move with ocean currents? Once they hit the bottom, I don't, or hurricanes, like.
All I know is I can imagine if that shark is there, that's got to be the scariest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Just a rotting shark, just, octopus swimming out of its mouth.
Covered with barnacles.
Yeah, just horrible, rotted foam rubber.
Nice.
Pure salt water. It's probably not even, it's probably deteriorated by now. 'Cause that was
Yeah.
back in 86.
Oh, but what a discovery that would be for camera. That would be very cool. Whatever it is. But that seems very doable. 15 grand.
Yeah, it is doable.
Yeah.
We last time we put a funding together. We asked for 5 and we came up with 10. So it's just, is it going to be the same people that are going to be donating? They might like, well, I donated last time, I'm not doing it again. You might have to reach a new audience. So
Right. Well, this podcast reaches tens of people, so we should get some
Tens
sort of
of
response.
people.
Tens of
Hey.
people.
$20. That's
Did you say tons? No, we said
Tens.
And-
Tens. Do you know what the plan is for the release of it, or have you been
well,
involved
it's
in
not
that?
going to come out until 2027
Okay.
because that's the 40th anniversary of the movie. So that's the idea, is release it on the 40th.
Got it.
And
Are you reaching out then to the distributor of that movie to try to pair it somehow?
yes, we're trying to see, we can get Universal involved. If we can get Universal involved, then, that'll really help out a lot. But, like everything, Universal could even turn around and say, you know what? We don't want you to release this. We don't want anybody knowing about this movie. It was a joke. So,
Well, the people from Universal are definitely listening right now, and this is bound to be fantastic. So come on, man. Come on.
Make it
Pair this
happen.
up. Make it happen, Captain.
yeah, I'm sure if there's money involved for them, then they'll have no problem. But, everything defaults to money.
Yeah. Right. That's why you shoot a Christmas Story sequel in Bulgaria.
Exactly.
Right. Right. And that's why, you cut off people from getting their residuals.
Exactly.
Sorry, too soon?
No. 40 years later, now it's
No. So tell me some stuff that you're doing with the puppeteering or have done.
well. I'll talk about how, because people always ask, like, how did you even get started in that?
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I mean, I've always been a fan of puppets ever since I was a kid. I grew up watching the Muppets. Those were in one of my favorite shows growing up. So I was a big Jim Henson fan, big Kermit, Fozzie, all those. I loved Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, anything that Jim did. In fact, when we were shooting Christmas Story, Dark Crystal was still playing in the movie theaters.
Really?
And Gene Shepard was on set a lot.
Yeah.
I got to talk to him and I got to know him, and I had a picture book from the Dark Crystal, and he was looking at it like, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, it's a movie. You should go see it." So I convinced Gene Shepard to go see Dark Crystal with his wife.
Wow. Wow. What did he think?
Well, whatever he told me was nice. He said, "Yeah, I saw it. It was very interesting. Great." I don't know if that's how he showed it, but
Right.
Dark Crystal was really, Gene Shepard's cup of tea as cinema goes. But I think he was probably just, not wanting to, be mean to an 8-year-old. So he might have just,
Right.
but he was nice. He was a nice guy.
Right.
Um,
Well, beyond the Muppets, I remember some great movies that had puppets in them. Like even the scene in what was it, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, that
yeah,
that
it,
had the
was
opera.
vampire musical that they did, which I saw that movie later on, and everybody, and that's always the one thing. It's like, oh, did you see Saving Sharon? Like, I haven't seen it yet, but I'll go check it out. Oh, okay, this is Saving Puppets. So the hard thing about puppets is, finding the work. Well, where do you get work? Because you'll see stuff, and a lot of stuff, that you might see will be shot in Canada. And that's the other thing. It's like, oh, cool puppet. Oh, it's in Canada. Okay,
Right.
can't go. Um,
What was the David Bowie puppet music?
Labyrinth.
Yeah, there should be a sequel of that.
And then there was in Being John Malkovich, the character
That's
was
right.
a
Being
Yeah.
puppet
John
as
Malkovich
well.
was, that had puppets in it, and so how I got into it was almost by accident, really. Is I was studying comedy at the Groundlings, and I had a good friend of mine who we studied together by the name of Dan Lake, and he worked for a production company called Wandering Monkey, and they were all a group of guys from Chicago, moved out to LA, and started this production company. And the main guy, Dan Clark, who started it, was working on a lot of these productions, but he was using puppetry a lot in his. He wanted to do more adult puppetry, and when I say adult, not
You don't mean naked puppets.
right, not naked, just sort of like Simpsons, but with the puppets.
Or making
Fans
the
only.
puppet do things with your hand that it shouldn't be
Right,
doing.
yeah,
Right.
and so
A puppet job.
they, so they were that. I was gonna say there's a hand job joke in there somewhere,
Yeah,
but
exactly. I took care of it for you. Don't worry. Didn't get by me.
and so they were working on a production, and they, just asked me if I wanted to come in and help out and, be a production assistant and help build the sets and paint sets. And I said, yeah, sure, I'd love to do it. So I went there and I saw one of the puppets, and I asked Dan, I said, hey, can I see the puppet real quick? Just try it out. And he's like, yeah, go ahead, have some fun. So I picked the puppet up, put it on, and started, manipulating it and make it work. And he goes, actually, you're really good. Why don't you put the paintbrush down, take the puppet, and get in front of the
Really? Nice.
Wow.
camera? So that's how that got started. So I just started working with them. And I worked on a movie called The Item, and I was the puppeteer for that. And that got me into working on Ninja Turtles. And in the 90s, the Ninja Turtles had a television series called The Next Mutation. Now, that was shot up in Vancouver, but they brought the Ninja Turtles down to do a crossover episode with the Power Rangers. And so they needed puppeteers in the States to do all the
Yeah.
mouth eye manipulation for the turtles. So there were 5 turtles because they introduced a new turtle. And so we were auditioning, and only 5 people showed up for the audition. So we all got the part. So
You gotta love those odds.
Yeah,
like,
they needed 10 hands. They got them.
all right, you're all hired. Congratulations. So I got to work on an episode of the Ninja Turtles, which was fun, but also very chaotic, and learned what not to do with puppets, because the suit that they had were amazing, and the controls for the facial features, and you did everything. You had 2 joysticks. This joystick would work the mouth, so the up and down would, move the jaw. Then you had the right and left, and that would, smile or a scowl. You had a trigger that would move the lips. And then on this side, this would work the eyes. So this joystick would move the eyes up and down, right, left. You had a thumb trigger for the blink. And then, if you swiveled that would work like the eyebrows.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot that you had to learn to do this, just to get facial expressions and everything.
Wow.
So I would go and I was doing Michelangelo. So I got all my lines. I tried to memorize my lines as much as possible, but I knew that I needed practice, to get everything together. So I went up to one of the guys. I can't remember his name, but these suits were built by a company called the Kyoto Brothers. And if you remember, Kyoto Brothers is famous for Killer Clowns in Outer Space. That's like their
Right.
staple.
Right.
So they built these suits. They were amazing suits. And so I went up to the guy. I said, "Hey, can I borrow the Michelangelo head? I want to, work out some lines." And he was like, "We can't do it." Why? Why not? Because the batteries they just drain so fast. So it's like as soon as you take the head off, you got to plug it in to recharge it. I mean, it's like almost like a phone. You ever have one of those phones where the batteries are just dying so fast? Like, oh shit, I gotta plug my phone in. So I couldn't practice. So the only time you had to work was when you were actually on the set with the stuntman with the head plugged in and working. And there are times like you're not going to get every single line right away. You know, you're going to miss a cue with a syllable, on the mouth. And you notice this, and you see it through the monitor, and you're like, okay, can we do that again? And the director would be like, nope, we're moving on. So it, it so when you watch the episode, it's like none of the mouths match any of the words.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it was very chaotic. But you that's the one thing, like I said, I mean, you learn it's like even with puppeteering, no matter how good you are, you still need practice. You need time for rehearsal. So it's like dancing. You might be a good dancer, but you got to take time to learn those
To
moves.
learn the choreography for that particular, yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe there is this, but I'm surprised there's not something where there's some device that scans an actor's face and it translates that movement to the puppet itself,
think
like
they
in
were,
animation.
I think they were trying to like work on that for a while. I thought I remember seeing something like that. Like you could actually just, you know, hook up dots and the computer would record the dots, kind of like how they do motion capture, nowadays, with CGI.
Yeah.
And they just, put little dots on the actor's face and
Right, so
then,
they can tell when you raise your
The
eyebrows
right.
or
tracking marks. Yeah.
right.
So I think they were trying to work on something like that, but maybe it was just cost too much or just wasn't practical, and you know, so let's just stick with motion capture and do that. It's cheaper. Um, but yeah, that would be a cool thing to do. That probably made that day a lot easier. But that was the '90s, so
Right. And even doing that, just like you said before, it's all about money. So I'm sure paying actors to get it right is still cheaper than doing all of that. Who
yeah.
knows?
And
Yeah.
Power Rangers didn't really have the biggest budget, so that's the other thing people don't understand is that when you're on set filming, that's money. You're moving on to the next scene, because you got to get every dollar worth of your studio time, your camera time, your crew time. So it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, Ian, we didn't get Michelangelo to do what you want, but
Yeah. We're burning minutes.
exactly. So that's the other process. So no, it's just one of those things that I I've always loved doing it and just want to continue doing it. So that kind of gets back to it's like, where do you find these jobs? Where, how do people get hired for this stuff? And nobody seems to ever have an answer. Any
Yeah.
agent that you go to, they're like, I wouldn't know how to do that. Like, well,
All
so
right.
how to be hired.
So, if there's a producer out there developing either
Yeah,
for stage or for screen that has to do with puppetry, do you have a website that they can reach out to you on or check out your? Do you have videos online?
Facebook. Yeah, do that or Instagram. Sometimes some people do. They'll say, hey, I need help building. I'm like, sure, give me a call. And my rates are super, super cheap. So sometimes I don't even have rates. It's like, hey, it sounds fun.
Sometimes you pay them.
Sometimes I'll have to be like, here, hire me. But that's why I started working on this project. Is I was saying, you know what? If I can't find the job, then I'll just create the job
Create one for yourself. Exactly.
and do that. So now it's, I've had to learn a lot, just on how to, because like building puppets was never really my thing. It was always just being the person to manipulate them. That was my strong point. But as of recently, I had to, learn how to make these things.
When I think of how puppets used to be, there was they were made out of a lot of wood and a lot of very detailed clothing cut out, and all these strings, and as opposed to, well, maybe that's more marionette puppetry, but as opposed to, like you said, you get the foam thing, and then you can kind of go to Joanne Fabric or whatever and buy some felt to make whatever. I mean, it seems like it would be a lot cheaper than undertaking like an old style puppet like Pinocchio.
Yeah. No, it's no, they're because one of the main materials, it's called Antron fleece, also known as Henson fleece, and that's what all the Muppets are made out of. And that stuff used to be really expensive. I mean,
Really?
it was just like $100 a yard, which is
Jesus.
Do you ever record yourself? Do videos of you creating these puppets? That seems like it would be some pretty cool content.
I should.
Yeah.
Time lapse.
Yeah, I should, but I just always like if I set everything up and then if I mess up, I'm like, oh, I gotta do it again. It'd all be better to just have somebody come over and just videotape it for me.
Fine. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right,
Yeah, and I'll voice it.
yeah, you'll narrate it, you'll shoot it, I'll be in it. So
There you go.
come
Love
on down
that.
to Sacramento, and but yeah, I would like to because I'm going to be doing some mold making, so I'm going to try and see if I can set something up and have something, because that's another way is like getting yourself out there, as you're making this, people, that's the other thing is people need to be aware of what you do, and that's what I'm trying to do right now is make more people aware of what I'm doing, so
Right.
that
And you don't have to do a long piece. It doesn't have to be an hour-long tutorial. No one, people don't have well, I don't want to go into the attention span because we addressed that in a previous
Yeah,
episode,
and then
but
someone
you know,
and
30
someone
second
shot us
TikToks or
down.
something, could go a long way.
Yeah, to just showing like, well, here's the first step, and then here,
Yeah.
hey, we're back, and we I showed you how I did this before. Now we're gonna put on the felt or whatever. You could do
right,
a thing like
exactly,
that.
And as that builds up, then you can go into the deep dive and have
Yeah,
the
and then
longer
have me do the
content.
voiceover. Right, exactly.
And me.
well, that's what I would like to. I'd like to get to the point where they're done, and then I can show that and show them actually working, and then that'll lead to everything else. So that's really kind of the plan is doing that because I'd rather get hired as a puppeteer than a puppet maker.
There you go. Right.
So I enjoyed doing it, but I don't want to always have to be because you can get pigeonholed real quick.
Oh yeah.
Anything.
Now,
So
do you come up with would you come up with like voices? Do you do a lot of different voices where you could come up with a voice and say the turtle's gonna talk like this, or
oh yeah, I mean all these guys are doing everything for these characters. So doing the
that's
voices.
fun. That's fun to create that. That's awesome.
Well, Ian, thank you so much for all of your time. I really appreciate you doing not only this part 2, but the previous part 1. And I hope after The Shark Roars comes out, you'll be able to come back on and
Yeah,
do yet another episode. We can hear all about it and find out about your discovery of the rotting
Yeah.
shark.
yeah. Now that won't be till 2027. So that's a
Well, we'll be around. We're not going anywhere. We got tens of listeners.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want me on sooner for something else,
Yeah,
let me know.
absolutely. That sounds great. We
So I'll
really appreciate
talk
it.
about anything really. So
Take care.
all right, cheers.
Man,
What do you
he's
think?
cool.
So
He's
fun.
really cool, and great stories,
Yeah.
and talented puppeteer too. I mean, this guy can do a little bit of everything.
Maybe we'll have him back on and talk about A Christmas Story more, and as well as the Shark Roars, but just learn about his world.
Well, I'm going to go crawl under a kitchen sink and put my face in some oatmeal, so I'm ready.
There you go. And have that wicked laugh.
There
All
you
right,
go.
buddy.
All right.
Later,
Later,
dude.
Tom and Dee.
Two middle-aged idiots.
This podcast is produced by 224 Media with voice and audio support by Fry on the Fly Productions.